divorced. You were young, and your mom moved all the way from California across to Tennessee. You were separated from your dad. You saw him 1 week a year. Phone calls were expensive. Air travel was prohibitive. Is that part of what you were getting at in this book? The emotional impact on your kids when someone important in their young life is suddenly gone.
Yes, but I didn't know it. And that's the fascinating thing about writing fiction is I can write a novel and really not know what I'm getting at. So it wasn't until I had finished the book and was reading it for the audiobook that I thought, oh, this is in some way about being separated from my dad. I think of it so much about a story of my friendship with my friend Jim Fox, who died, but someone else making a decision about who you can see and who you can't see. It's devastating. My goal was to write about the goodness in people and the love and the connection, because in this world where all things terrible are so extensively documented, the decency and the kindness and the love that if we're lucky we encounter every day of our lives is overlooked. Why is that not okay? Even if you're writing a novel about kindness and love and good people, lots of hard times come in.
Well, as they do with Eddie and Daphne, they went through an incredible car accident in which they were trapped in a car overnight. It was freezing cold outside. He was pinned. She could potentially leave, but she's 9 years old, and there was a concern that the car might still slide down the hill. Isn't your heart pounding when you're coming up with this?
Yes, absolutely. And I went to the grocery store and I bought a little Hot Wheels car, turned it on its side, so I could just be looking at that car and thinking, okay, wait, now if she's climbing over the seat and she's in the back and measuring it, how tall would she be, how many inches of the car, she'd have to pull the armrest down, crank the window. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little something you don't learn, in the Iowa workshop.
Right.
Tell the story of how you put together that they, a daughter and a stepdad, would be together in this car with the fried chicken that you just picked up.
Yes. So I heard a story about a person who had done a study of what were the 3 details that made the happiest memory people had from childhood. And the 3 things were the presence of the father, an element of danger, and fried food. And that's been kicking around in the back of my mind. Wouldn't it be something that if I could kind of tap into the subconscious of the reader, that the reader would feel like, oh yeah, that's a really happy memory, because look, these elements that I can't even recognize are there.
Well, so there they are. The fried food's all over the place. He's trapped, and here comes your theme. She is afraid to go out. What will I do when I climb up the ravine?
Right. He says flag down a car.
Yeah.
Or knock. And he's just like, you can't flag down a car and get in a car.
He's afraid.
Yeah.
And what does he tell her?
He tells her that the world is full of good people, that there are so many more people in the world who want to help you than who want to hurt you. And that informed Daphne's whole life without her even knowing it, because she goes into the world believing people are basically good.
Talk a little bit about your writing. I wouldn't say autobiographical, because you said you're not even sure when you're doing some of these things that you later realize are things that are in your own life.
Here's the thing. Fiction, everybody wants to know what part of this happened, what part of this is true. And I think the parts you can't imagine are true. And other things I made up.
But being in a car accident, you reminded me, I had a car accident. When I was 18, I had a little girl with me because I was mother's helper. And I had her for the summer, and it was a bad accident. And we used to talk, every decade, little Annie. Annie. She's probably as old as Daphne. And you reminded me to pick up the phone and call Annie.
Wow. And what if the mother had just said, you don't have access to my child anymore, and then you saw each other again?
After 45 years?
Yeah.
I can't imagine that.
But I was also in a car accident.
Oh, boy.
And I was in a car accident at 9 with my stepfather.
You are burying the headline here.
I know, and no one's asked me this. I was badly hurt, but my sister was terribly hurt. I can recognize what a seminal experience a car accident is, but the car accident that we had is in no way the car accident in that book.
But then they were again
Here I am
impacted.
again,
Pulling one
cooking
of-
from my pantry. Just like pulling things out and sticking them in a book in a different form.
Wow, cooking from your pantry. We have to say, there's a horse. there's a horse on the cover.
Right.
The horse's name is Whistler. That's the title of the book. I don't suppose someone told you a story about a horse while you were in your car accident, because Whistler is a horse who's part of a story that Eddie tells Daphne to calm her. Is that story true?
The story isn't true, and I just remembered something, Robin Young.
No.
I just remembered something that I don't think I've thought about since I was 9, which is when we were in that terrible car accident and we were hit by a drunk driver on a Sunday morning, my stepfather, my sister, and I was in the back seat, and I had a really bad concussion, and I didn't wake up for about a day after that car accident. But I believed that we had hit 2 horses, that 2 horses had run across the road and we had hit them. And I remember when I woke up in the hospital, all I could say is, what happened to the horses? What happened to the horses? There we are, ladies and gentlemen, live on the radio, a recovered memory. This is why I don't have to go into therapy. I totally forgot that. And here we are.
Not only that, the premonition of a horse starts in the museum.
And the wall, a huge Charles Ray, which is a real piece in the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Of 2 horses.
Of 2 horses. Yeah, right.
Oh.
Isn't the mind a tangle? And so when people say, what's true? I don't know. I'm just writing a novel. I'm not pretending that I made it all up, but I'm also not saying it's true. It's both.